Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of On the School Bus with Dr. Spates. Today, we have TaVia Wooley. She is a cultural power architect and civic socialite who designs equitable systems and relationships that move community voices into action and systemic change. Her work bridges community, wisdom, collective empowerment, and generational results, ensuring those most impacted by inequity are positioned as decision makers, not just the participants. With more than 20 years of experience across complex public systems, including housing, child protective services, juvenile justice, mental health, and substance use, TaVia brings deep professional and lived expertise in how systems shape outcomes for marginalized communities. She has spent her career helping individuals and families navigate systems with dignity while educating communities and organizations on how systems operate, where they fail, and how they can be transformed. As a civic socialite, TaVia builds trust and influence across sectors, connecting grassroots leaders, culture bearers, policymakers, and institutional partners to shift power from extraction and exclusion towards shared leadership and accountability. Her ability to convene, translate, and align diverse stakeholders allow community knowledge to move beyond consultation into policy, practice, and resource allocation. TaVia brings a strong policy background supporting systems change at the local, state, and federal levels by translating lived experience into policy-informed strategies that advance equity, sustainability, and long-term impact. She is the founder and executive director of Empower Them Collective, a systems change organization established in 2021 to address root causes of inequity, such as systemic racism, economic injustice, and maternal health disparities across Los Angeles County. Under her leadership, the organization advances transformation through its 5 pillars: policy, economic empowerment, advocacy, research and leadership, which she calls Pearl, supporting women, families, and youth to create sustainable futures. Some of TaVia's most impactful work includes co-creating a community-driven maternal and infant health model that helps shape the motherboard and strengthen lived experience leadership across Los Angeles County. As co-lead of the Policy and Advocacy Leadership Council, she has championed the inclusion of lived experience in advocacy and policy spaces, ensuring those closest to the problems help design the solution. TaVia's work in maternal health is deeply personal. After losing her infant son at birth, she transformed grief into purpose, helping to fuel the African American Infant and Maternal Mortality Prevention Initiative in the Antelope Valley, which she calls AIM. This experience continues to ground her healing centered, justice-driven leadership. In 2025, TaVia expanded her work at the intersection of culture, creativity, and power by launching the 661 Creator Space, a Black Center collaborative studio and cultural hub in the Antelope Valley. The space cultivates storytelling, entrepreneurship, and cultural production as tools for community power, economic opportunity, and liberation. Whether in policy rooms, on stages, or in community spaces, TaVia leads with clarity, warmth, and conviction, centering storytelling, care, and systems change as a pathway toward collective liberation. Let's go. Welcome to On the School Bus with Dr. Spates, the podcast dedicated to advancing creativity and innovation in education. Each week, we invite educators, innovators, and creatives from across the country doing the real work in schools to hop on the school bus with me, Dr. Spates. Together, we explore what's working. Whether you lead from an office, a classroom, or anywhere in between, this podcast is your vehicle for creative ideas, bold leadership, and strategies that have been put to the test where it counts in schools. Because our children, families, caregivers, and communities are counting on us to equip the next generation for success. Let's go. All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of On the School Bus with Dr. Spates. Today, I have an incredible guest. You guys heard all of the accolades. I have to tell you, don't we have the most amazing guests here. Only the best for you. But we have Miss TaVia Wooley. She is here today. She is our fabulous guest. She is the founder and executive director of Empower Them Collective. How are you, TaVia? Welcome to the school bus. Isn't it beautiful?
It really is. I love it here. It is absolutely beautiful. I mean, gosh, how did you find this place?
I know. You and your team actually created the bus. So
I love it.
But we are going to get into all of that.
Yes.
So beyond the professional accolades that I just shared with everybody, who is TaVia?
I mean, I'm a mom. I wear that title boldly and proudly. I love to sing and dance. I can't sing or dance, but I love to do them.
I get that.
And at any given moment, whether it's a conference, a policy summit, I will probably break out into a song and dance. I could be given a whole presentation and I will start singing a song.
I love that.
And I'm crafty and I'm the only girl. I think those are all the things most people, we never get to talk about. I'm the only girl. I have 5 brothers.
Okay.
I'm the only person in my family with freckles.
Oh, wow.
No.
Why would I just assume it was a family trait? I'm learning so much and I thought I knew you.
Right? Nope. I'm the only person with freckles.
Okay.
I used to wonder myself, like, Mom, is there something you need to tell
Right.
me? Because there's nobody with freckles.
Okay.
And people would always ask me, because I do a lot of things, right?
Mm-hmm.
What don't you do? And I used to say I can't swim, but then at 40, I started to take swim lessons. So I know how to swim now.
I love that.
So I think those are like the, here's really cool.
Okay.
I met 4 presidents.
No.
Yes,
Who?
yes. Bush, Clinton, Obama. Oh, wait, 3, because I also met Hillary. And Al Gore. So I guess.
4.
Yeah. Oh, and I'm Kamala
half.
too.
Okay.
Yeah, but she's a vice president.
Yeah.
So I met quite a few
That's
people.
incredible.
And then Maya Angelou. I met Maya Angelou.
Oh, wow.
Angela Davis, Cornel West. So I've met some really cool people too.
Now, who was your favorite?
Angela Davis, because in high school, I was a student body president, and
student body president love, high five,
right? And that's what my nickname was, Angela Davis.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess because I was radical back then.
Okay.
Yeah, I was radical.
Okay.
Yeah. I went to Lancaster High, which we were the first graduating class. I probably just dated myself. Yes.
Okay.
Class of 1999. And back then, I guess because I was very radical, I would always push back on whatever was being presented. If it didn't make sense to me, you needed to explain to us.
Right.
So yeah, I was Angela Davis.
I love that.
So I finally got to meet her, and it was just like, I was in love.
I love that.
And I actually have a picture of her in my office. So I'm always reminded, because she challenges us to be radical in our own thought process and in our lives, and challenge the status quo. Even if it looks good, you should still ask all the questions. So yeah.
So you are still the same in the sense that you push back. It sounds like critical thinking about the world and politics.
Yes.
And that's still the space that you're in.
I am still in that space. Since I was a little girl, I remember asking a pastor, I think I was 8.
Okay.
And it was Vacation Bible School. And I said, who made God? And I remember the pastor getting stuck. How do I answer who made God? So I've always been, I'm going to ask the question. And I think as we talk more, that is really the essence of what we do, is we need to ask the right question. Not that everyone has ill intentions, but people don't necessarily default to give you all the information you need.
So true.
So a lot of what I do is teach people how to ask the right question and listen, so that you know how to ask the next question.
I love that. That's so true. People don't. They have all of the answers, but I love that. People don't default and give you all the information.
They don't.
That's not our default.
And I say it's not always malicious. Sometimes it is. Let's just be honest. Sometimes it is. But I think we don't give people enough credit for being people. When we show up to our jobs or whatever we're doing, we have context, history. We could have had an argument. Right. Our families could be sick. Our children could be sick. And so we're not always in the right frame of mind to default the answer.
Right.
So giving people grace, but not enough grace where you don't get your needs met.
Okay. Well, I can't wait to get into this. I had 7 questions initially. Then I had to apologize and I said, okay, there's 13. But I did whittle down.
Okay. All right.
I did whittle down.
I'll take the 13.
All right.
As in 1913, but we won't. We won't.
She happens to be a member of Delta Sigma Theta.
Sorority Incorporated. Yes.
And I'm a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha, Sorority Incorporated. And we basically founded Delta Sigma Theta. But we're not here to talk about all of that right now.
Well, there's always a rough draft before the masterpiece. So, yeah.
Respect your roots. Okay. All right. Let's be serious. All righty. So how do your lived experiences, professional journey, and connection to the Antelope Valley, because that's where we are now, shape the way you show up as a leader and an advocate today?
Lived experience, I think, is more important than the degrees we have.
Say more about that.
Yeah, I know I'm probably going to ruffle some feathers, but when we think about our lived experience, it shapes us. Now, it probably shaped us to the point of where you decided to go study in, get your degree and all those things.
True.
But when we look at like advocacy, leadership, and the things that we do at Empower Them Collective, we come from a place of lived experience. You know better than someone else who has never did this thing. If you're a single mom and you've ever struggled with daycare because it's costs, then who better to advocate for increased funding for daycare programs than a single mom who's had to come out of pocket for it?
Yes.
Versus maybe me, who I always had the homie hookup when it came to watching my kids. I'm very clear that I don't have the same perspective as someone who didn't have family village to support with all the children. So it's important that lived experience gets honored because you've lived through it, you made it to the other side, or sometimes you don't. And that's equally as important to inform those who have the power and the resources to change something, that this is what happens when we don't change this based on my lived experience. This is what those outcomes look like.
So when you were talking, I was like, oh, wow, that's really empowering. And I'm like, oh, I think I am getting the name. But that's very empowering. And it gives voice to everybody and doesn't just limit policy work to those people who have degrees. So
exactly.
I love that.
And so the name, I think, because this is also a principle, is pivoting, right? Because sometimes we have the dreams, we have the plans, our lives are planned out for us, but life happens, and sometimes we don't know how to pivot. So my intentions were never actually to found a nonprofit organization.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was actually going to found a women's business and training center called Empower Her Center.
Okay.
And so that was supposed to open in 2019. Some things happened. I had a hoop dream, like caviar dreams on peanut money. And so the dream didn't happen, and then 2020 occurred. So I was going to get a facility. It fell through in October of 2019.
Thank goodness it did.
Right?
Yes,
and then, but I kept holding on to what was the essence of this space. What were we going to do? And so the more I looked at the type of work I was doing, then I shifted to empowering them. So Empower Them Collective, because it is about empowering the people. And then collectively, we can move forward with liberation and seeking out the solutions that we need as a community.
Nice. Okay, so now let's get into your work. So you are the founder and executive director of Empower Them Collective. So tell us about the work the organization leads in the community and the core problems you're committed to solving.
Okay. Well, we are a systems change organization. We focus on addressing root cause issues. And that was out of my own lived experience plus professional background. So my 20 years of working prior to founding this organization, I was a child social worker for Department of Children and Family Services, a probation officer for the juvenile justice system, drug and alcohol counselor, ran housing shelters. I've done everything within the work. And so I would move or change jobs essentially like every year, every 2 years, because I would get frustrated that we weren't addressing, we weren't solving anything.
Right.
And so I would go to the next thing like, okay, maybe I'm going to solve something here.
Right.
And then I go to the next thing and I'm like, okay, we're not solving anything. But then I also realized I was seeing the same people.
Oh, how interesting.
Yeah, I would see the same people.
Clients.
The clients were, everybody was the same. It would just be a rotation.
Wow.
And so my last job working for someone else is I ran all the homeless shelters in the Antelope Valley.
Wow.
And I got fed up because I'm like, we're really not doing anything. And then I looked back at my life. Someone who I was born to a mother who was a teenage mom. My older brother, she only had 2 kids. My older brother is on the autism spectrum. And she's a single parent, poverty, like the whole stereotypical things that we read about, right?
Right.
But why was my life different?
Oh.
Why were the outcomes different for me? And so I just started to realize that because I work for these systems, because of my background with my brother being on the spectrum and always having to advocate for him, I realized I had information that other people didn't have. And so I was able to navigate these systems and always get my needs met because I knew how to ask the right question. I
Okay.
was clear on how these systems operated. I knew how to build rapport. And so when I started to look at, because I was deep in frustration, like, again, we're not solving problems. And I
Right.
realized we don't have a nonprofit in the Antelope Valley that addresses the systems issue. How do we teach people to do the things that I've done
Right.
my whole life?
Right.
And so then I founded the organization, and our
Wow.
first program that we were even funded for was the Leadership and Policy Academy for Parents.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Yep.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, so tell me about that.
Okay. So
14.
14. So that was started out of, so here again, here's how my lived experience. I'm a mother of 5. My second son died at birth.
Sorry.
And thank you. And it was traumatic. I had no answers for why it happened. No one had answers for me. And then years later, this initiative came out, African American Infant and Maternal Mortality Prevention Initiative, because Black moms were dying 3 to 4 times more likely during birth. And then our children, this is where things started to click for me, weren't seeing, 1 to 2 times more likely to die before their first birthday.
Wow.
And I was like, wait, so this, because I thought it was something was wrong with me, and that's why my son died.
Okay.
So I was like, wait, there's a whole system, there's a whole problem.
Right.
Oh. And so once again, I took my background and my experience of advocacy, and then the other added component, my mother, her kidneys failed when she was 39 years old. And so then I became a medical advocate for my mother. So I grew up being an advocate for my brother who's on the spectrum. Then in my early adult years, I became a medical advocate for my mother. So then I had my own challenge. And then I was like, once again, the gap is people don't know what their rights are, what they have, the information that would help them.
Right.
Because when I look at my son's situation, they had information, they didn't present it all to me. Not saying that the outcome would have been different,
Right.
but I think everyone should be well informed of what their options are,
Right.
because you feel much better knowing that you've exhausted all your options
Yes.
and the outcome still didn't turn out,
Right.
versus knowing that there was options
Right.
and you never presented them to me. And now I
Right.
never know if that. So that is how we got the Leadership and Policy Academy, because if parents could be leaders of their own families, and they understand policy, not only just laws, but institutional laws, education systems, hospital systems. Policy is in everything that we do. We only think of it in terms of laws,
Right.
which is the high level of it,
Right.
but it's in everything.
So true.
Special education, how the bus systems work.
Right.
And the more people know that you can be a leader, you don't need to wait for some grand leader to rise up. You need to be the leader yourself for your own family. And then if you know these things, your rights, how to ask questions, how to communicate, then you have more opportunities to get your needs met.
I love that. Thank
Yeah.
you. And we talk about just, even when I'm talking to my students, I talk to them about just whatever their struggle is later in life, that's going to become their superpower. And I've had conversations with colleagues just about how vulnerable they should be in telling their story. But I'm just holding on to just seeing how our lived experiences are so powerful,
Yeah.
right? And they can become our superpower. So it's not something that people need to be ashamed about, because it does shape you, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Our lived experience is our superpower. Think about every great person in history, right? It begins with their hero's journey, their own story of how they failed in bankruptcy and did it, but it's what makes them get back up and do the thing. And the other point I would like to share is that sometimes for marginalized communities, Black and brown folks and everyone in between, we think of our stories as trauma.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
so one of the things we do here is we teach people how to come from a strength-based perspective to share their story. So you always stay empowered. We will never educate anyone to present their story for someone else's pat on the back.
Right.
Like, oh, we saved you. No.
Right.
They save themselves. What you need to do is just give them the resources, and we can do what we need to do for our own families.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. And then trauma and shame.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. I love that. Thank you. So what inspired you to launch Empower Them Collective? Was there a moment experience? You mentioned several gaps that you did share
Mm-hmm.
related to policy, but particularly around family voice, access, or equity that made you say, I need to found this organization. This work needs to exist.
Again, the last job where I worked for someone else
Yeah.
was housing.
Mm-hmm.
And the biggest gap out here specifically, and probably other places
Mm-hmm.
too, was there wasn't housing shelters for families.
Really?
So there would be times where we would have to break families up because, not like forcefully, but,
Yes,
like
I know what you're
we
saying.
only serve adults here.
Right.
So, you can come here and maybe we could find somewhere for the kids, or do you have
Mm-hmm.
a grandparent?
Mm-hmm.
And so I just kept getting frustrated that I'm not helping
Okay.
really anyone. And as family,
Mm-hmm.
you never want to be separated from your kids. And sometimes it's not just the little kids, because we would also have families that had special need adults,
Mm-hmm.
and that
Mm-hmm.
wasn't necessarily the best environment. And as someone who has a special need brother, I'm like,
Right.
what do we do? And then lastly, honestly, I just got tired of working for other people.
Right.
Let me just be honest.
Okay.
Because not only are there gaps in the services and things like
Mhm.
that, but I was a unique student, a unique person, right, growing up. And I would always hear how challenging I was.
Mm.
And really it was because I wasn't just going to accept whatever you said to
Right.
me.
Right.
And so I knew if I was struggling with always having to fit into this box, there would
Mhm.
be other people that were struggling to fit in these boxes that were predetermined,
Right.
right?
Right.
And so I wanted to not only create a space or an organization that support community members to step into their power, but that staff could step into their power too
Right.
and allow for that creativity, ask all the questions. I invite
Yeah.
my team to always ask me questions.
Right.
I'm more than happy to explain. I don't gatekeep. I'm
Right.
very transparent,
Right.
because one day you're going to move on somewhere else and I want you to be fully knowledgeable.
Right.
So the other side was
I
I just
love
got
that.
tired of working for other people, and I
Okay.
needed a place where I could just fly and be my unique self
Right. And create the impact
and create the
that
impact.
needed to happen. Thank you.
Yeah.
A thorough line in your work is moving people, and you just spoke to this a little bit, from survival to self determination. How does that philosophy show up in the way you support parents, caregivers, advocates, children?
Mm. Um, because my background is not very different from most of the families I've worked with. And
Hmm.
so, but oftentimes people see the end result of
Uh,
me. They
uh-huh.
didn't know where I come from.
Right.
So I'm transparent about my background.
Hmm.
I'm transparent that my mom was a teenage mom. I'm transparent that I was on, we call it CalWorks now, but it was AFDC back then.
Right.
I still literally have a book of food stamps.
Yeah.
A $40 book of food stamps.
Right.
Times are hard. I might just see if they
Stop
could
it.
go to the grocery store. But I'm always transparent, because
Yeah.
then when people see that I come from a similar background, that I'm the same person, that's a little bit of inspiration to let them know that you too can get to that, right?
Hmm.
And so, but we always start where they are at, and I meet them there, and we
Mm.
find the little small wins. But I'm always encouraging them to use their voice and their choice.
Mhm.
Like, I'm just here now, all my roles, I'm just here to support you.
Mm.
What do you want to do? You are
Okay.
still guiding this.
Mhm.
I'm gonna tell you about the rules.
Mhm.
I'm gonna tell you about what your options are. I'm
Okay.
gonna tell you how this might hit a roadblock. And then I'm gonna still help you problem solve. Like, if this is really the path you want to go down, then
Mhm.
I'm gonna be honest with you. It's gonna be a hard fight, but
Right.
it's a fight that we could do.
Okay.
And so when they know that you're in it with them, like,
Mhm.
I'm gonna roll my sleeve up. My jobs were never Monday through Friday. I would be there on Saturday and Sundays.
Right.
I could say this now because I don't work for them
Mhm.
anymore. But when I was a social worker, there was I had a teenager. She's like 19,
Mhm.
and she was pregnant.
Mhm.
And it wasn't a good situation. I would say the systems, the power that be, wanted to detain because they
Mm.
felt like she was at risk. And I just was like, I am not going to be the social worker that goes to the hospital and walk out with this baby.
Yeah.
Like, I just refuse.
Right.
And so there were times,
Mm.
again,
Mm.
I think the statue is over. 'Cause I was also a young mom.
Yeah.
I had my child at 21,
Mhm.
and I was a little bit older than her at this point. On the weekends, I would take her to community baby showers, and I bring my kid. So
Wow.
she could see me because I didn't
Yes.
look too much older than her, and I
Right.
wasn't actually too much older than
Right.
her. See me with my child, and this is what it looks like to be a young parent, and we could still do the things. So I think when we're going to take parents from surviving to thriving, it's about being transparent. It's about showing that you're willing to do the work with them,
Mhm.
and always be honest about it, even
Mhm.
when maybe the news isn't favorable, because people will respect you that you were honest up front. Never
Right.
let the bad news come from someone else.
Right.
Let it come from the person they built a rapport and trust with.
Right. I
So
love that. Okay, I have so many questions. Can you tell us about some of the work that you do? Because I'm sure people are thinking, and
mhm.
I've said it to you before, how can they get involved and how can they learn how to create policy in areas
Yes.
that are important to them?
So one of our cornerstone programs still is the Leadership and Policy Academy for parents. We have
Okay.
modified it to do for youth.
Mhm.
We've modified it for any demographic.
Okay.
So you could take the training if we're offering it to the community, or you can invite us to come to your facility to do the
Okay.
same type of training. That is like the first way you can get involved
Mhm.
with anything, and that's how you can start shifting the having impact in your community.
Okay.
Some of the other work we do is African American Infant and Maternal Mortality Prevention Initiative. We call it AIM for short.
Okay.
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 I love this story. There was a few people who they knew about my son passing from years prior, and they knew there was a meeting that was going to be held at another community organization out here, and they were like, "TaVia, we think you should come and share your story." At that point, I never talked publicly about what happened,
Wow.
and so I go into this room,
Wow.
and I see all these people who, in my opinion, I'm like, why are you even here? You don't even know what's going on. You're just trying to follow the money. Okay.
Mm.
Because it's nonprofit work. I'm like, are y'all just trying to follow the money and
Mhm.
you're not really invested in what this really means?
Mhm.
And so, out of actually quite honestly anger,
Mhm.
because I heard everyone talk about people dying, moms dying, babies dying, but from a place of, you don't know what this is like.
Right.
And
Right.
so I remember getting up and ugly crying,
Wow.
talking about what that was like,
Mhm.
and that no one listened to me, that I was communicating concerns and that doctors and nurses didn't pay attention and they didn't give me options. And do you know what it's like to have your son die? And you know that there was things that could have been done to
Mhm.
prolong or try, but
Right.
to know that your child died and no one made an effort. I
Mm.
said, that's a different ballgame. And so from that day of speaking up as a community member, I would later then in that same year, at the end of the year, rise up as a leader in the work
Wow.
too. And that's how the Leadership and Policy Academy really developed, because I was very adamant that parents have to know what their rights are and how to do this, because sometimes not sometimes, it's always intimidating, because especially if you're talking to doctors, well, they
Mhm.
went to school for this.
Right. Right.
So your
Right.
automatic default is they know what they're talking about,
Right.
but you know your body,
Right.
okay? Or
Right.
you know your child.
Yes.
It's the teachers. I love teachers, right?
Yes.
But there are some parents, I work with a lot of Latino community members, and what I am observing and then learning from some of my families that I work with is culturally you've been told, trust the teacher.
Mm.
And you should.
Right.
But you know your child.
Right.
And if you do have genuine concerns, you should be able to come to the teacher and say, "This is what I'm seeing," and
Right.
that the teacher also listen to you. So I
Right.
believe the communication and working with folks come from both sides. It's not a let's do battle with each other, but can
Right.
we all sit in this humility and
Right.
understand that we all have the same concern,
Mm.
and that my lived experience or what I'm observing is just as important as your
Absolutely.
educational background.
Right.
So we do that work. We also work with nonprofit organizations that choose to work in the community.
Mhm.
We work with them on how do you come into the community and work with community members, parents,
Mhm.
families, children,
Right.
and not be extractive. Okay,
Say
don't.
more about that.
Yeah. So a lot of times when big government
Mm.
institutions or funders, anyone is like, there's a problem in the Antelope Valley.
Mhm.
We need them to come tell us what the problem is. So then they
Mm.
come and send these people with all these degrees,
Okay.
okay, to study the community like lab
Mm.
rats. And
Okay.
yes, lab
Oh,
rats.
interesting. Okay.
Okay. And then they go and take this information and they go away with it. They
Mm.
never come back.
Oh,
They never come
wow.
back and share the information. They never ask the community, this is what we heard. Is this what you were really
Right.
communicating?
Right.
And it's very extractive. We never
Mm.
get anything back. And then
Okay.
what people don't know, this doesn't always happen. But somebody went and got money from that information that you shared. That's why next year you'll see a program pop up.
Oh, how interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, I'm very big on don't come into the community, don't come into the hood.
Right. Right.
Without, respecting everyone that's here,
Right.
that these people, their lived experience is just as valuable as your degree.
Mhm.
They have solutions in mind too. And more importantly, they're going to be here when you are gone.
Right.
So we teach and work with other nonprofits on how do you do that? How do you bring in parent leaders? How do you train them and build capacity? Because we don't believe in tokenism.
Right.
Okay. We're not doing that.
Right.
So if you're going to bring in parent leaders, you have to help build up their capacity to engage in this work.
Mhm.
And you have to give them grace
Mhm.
because they didn't have the privilege
Right.
of learning all these things.
Right.
But if you really want to have equitable leadership, shared power, then
Mhm.
this is a part of the process. So we work with organizations on that process.
Mhm.
We also work with organizations and community members and initiatives on policies that will address their actual needs.
Okay.
As opposed to, so Antelope Valley is a part of LA County.
Right.
LA County is huge, like the
Right.
5th largest economy in the world.
Oh, wow,
And
I didn't
so,
realize that. Okay.
yeah, we got a lot of money. And so a lot of times people say LA County, but Antelope Valley is in LA County, but we're not the same.
Mhm.
And so
Mhm.
what works in LA or other parts of this
Yes.
doesn't work here. And
Okay.
so
Yes.
while I work with a lot of community organizations, initiatives to say, hey, when you are addressing homelessness, you got to come to the AV and specifically address it from our perspective because what
Okay.
you do in LA doesn't work here.
Right.
Education, what you do there don't work here. We
Right.
have different dynamics. So
Mhm.
that's a lot of our work is really helping the community have voice and choice and be able to sit at the decision-making table.
Wow. Incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible. You're a powerhouse lady.
Yay.
Many parents want to support their children, but don't always know how to navigate school systems. Are there some practical advocacy skills parents can learn, whether it be around IEPs, discipline, access to programs, that truly can change outcomes for students?
On the most basic level, I learned this from my mother.
Okay.
On the first day of school, she would walk us into the classroom and meet our teacher.
Mm-hmm.
And she communicated to the teacher, if you have any challenges or concerns with my child, here is my number. You can always call me.
Okay.
Communicating directly with teachers and being present is like the first thing. Unfortunately, I do see a lot of folks who, for a variety of reasons, there's no judgment, send their kids to school and that is it. And there's a disconnect. Again, a lot of different reasons. I'm going to say, why not go meet the teacher? Why not check in with them often? Why not see if you can volunteer in the classroom? There's PTAs. I hope they're still called PTAs or something like that.
Yes.
Go and volunteer. Be a regular face in the schools. By virtue of always being present, teachers, staff will start to say, hey,
Right.
I saw this going on, or you'll learn about opportunities because they see you so much. That's just human nature. This is, again, not being malicious
Of
or
course.
necessarily picking out the
Yes, yes.
favorites. It's like, well, I see you all the
Right.
time. Well, let me tell you about this thing that might be very
Right.
beneficial to your child. So I think that is the first way to do that.
Yeah, that's a
the other
huge
thing.
part. Yes.
Once parents feel welcome into the
Yes.
school,
Mm-hmm.
then I think parents can start to take a more active role in starting to see what's going on in the schools or seeing how their children are responding or not responding. And I just also want to amplify that when we make parents or help parents, support parents feeling comfortable in the school, you then have a built-in advocate.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Absolutely.
Because let's be honest, when we work in institutions, sometimes people that work for the institution can't say the thing. Okay? And we need other people that are willing to open up and say, this is what I am observing. This is my lived experience. This is what I am seeing.
Right.
You cannot ignore those things. We call that an outside-inside partnership. A lot of times in my work, when I'm working with people who work for institutions, we have those private conversations. What really needs to be said? Because I'm not just a community person, but I'm a community person.
Right.
I don't answer to anyone, but I know that we need to get movement. So that would be my simple recommendation. Start showing up. Send the teacher emails, not always about the problems, but hey, teacher, I appreciate you.
Right.
Okay. Because it's a thankless job.
Yes, it is.
It's a thankless job, right? Just like being a parent is a thankless job. We all need to understand this is a thankless,
Right.
But just being kind and showing up and then volunteering and serving in leadership roles such as a PTA is a great way to get integrated into the educational world. And then schools being supportive of parents being present.
Right.
I'm sure they'll be like, hey, we need someone to host the fundraiser because you need more, PE supplies. Like,
Right,
it's just
right.
it's a beautiful experience when everyone comes to the table in humility and not assuming there's ill intent on the
Right.
other side.
I love that. And I think parents don't realize because for many reasons, all of what you said, especially when it comes to policy, there are things that I can't say, right? But there are things that parents can say.
Yep.
And they're a
We can say it.
powerful,
We can say it.
but they're a powerful force.
Yes.
And so I think in a lot of communities that serve um, economically disadvantaged communities don't realize the power of what you said, their lived experience, and how that can really impact and move organizations. Whereas in more affluent communities, parents are very involved, right? And they
Yes.
can move the institution. So
Yeah. I
thank you for
mean,
that.
if we could just build rapport with each other,
Yeah.
first and foremost, I think we could get a lot done. Yeah, I think that is building relationships with people and being as transparent as possible and assuming everyone has a story. So, yes, you might be the teacher, but I'm sure you have a story as to why you're even a teacher.
Right.
And I don't always need to know it, but I need to know that there is one. And so that um, extend grace, kindness, and be curious.
Right.
Ask the questions. You'd be
Right.
surprised how we have so much more alike. Because I think that's what hinders really any of the
That's
policy and
true.
advocacy is we don't ask questions.
Okay.
We just assume you're the teacher, you're the school. That's it.
Right. Right. You said something too that will always stay with me. Um, Coming to the table in humility. So everybody needs it. So I need to do that as
Yeah.
the principal. My degrees don't matter, right? Families,
Yeah.
right? Your lived experience
Yep.
has more power really when we're talking about your child. I should say more value,
Yeah.
right? More value when we're talking about your child. So I have to be humble and be really open to
Yeah.
listen,
Yeah.
right? And focusing on the child, and it's not about winning or losing or
Yes.
exercising my
Yes.
power because I think it should be a
Yes.
certain way. So
Yeah, so I learned that the hard way. When I was a DCFS social worker, I was 23.
wow, you're a baby.
I know, right? They trusted me to go knock on somebody's door and to determine if they were
Wow.
good. I did a good job.
Okay.
But I would oftentimes encounter families who were older than me. The mom, our dad was,
Of
and,
course,
and I
yeah.
looked even younger than 23. So they're like, what do you know? And I literally, the first thing out my mouth is, I have a kid. I have a kid. Okay?
Right.
So I know what this like.
Right.
But I would win parents over by not coming in with my degree, my badge, my
Right.
title. I came in as just simply TaVia. In fact, that's why I prefer people call me TaVia. Don't call me Miss this. I'm just TaVia because what I am doing is leveling out the power and balance.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm a person, you're a person.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
My degrees did get me this position, but I
Right.
am a person and I want you to see me as a person
Yes.
first.
Yes.
And let's chop it up about how was your day before we get to the business.
Right.
What is going on? What you doing for dinner? Oh,
Right.
you went to the movies this weekend? Literally, I will have a
Yes.
full-blown conversation about everything else before we get into the work of things. Because we need to center that humility that we're both humans, that we have lives. And then from there, the report begins. Now you're like, oh, that's TaVia. She got a kid. Oh yeah, she got a baby daddy. You
Right.
know,
Right. Yes.
and she gets it.
Right.
She gets it. And so you're going to now be more forthcoming with information. You're going to be more forthcoming about the challenges that you are actually experiencing that are probably showing up in school, that's probably showing up in other locations, because it's not just the right now. There's so much going on. Our children are dealing with a lot because our families are dealing with a lot.
Yeah.
And what people are seeing is just the outward behavior.
Right. Right.
But we never ask the real question. But we don't make it safe enough to. Right. Because there's so many things going on.
And that's what I was going to say when you were sharing just how you would engage with your families. I was just thinking, they feel seen. You would make me feel seen.
Yes.
As a human.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever, because I've dealt with families that are like looking me up and down because I'm the social worker in this case.
Of course. Yeah.
They're like,
on defense,
like,
of
right?
course,
I'm like, oh, look at them boots. sons are so cute. Oh my God. Whatever it is that's going to get you to just open up just a little bit more. And I also want to acknowledge that sometimes it's not going to always happen in the one meeting.
So true.
Our systems, our institutions need to allow for more time for people to build the actual report. I know we have deliverables. I know we have to check off the things. I know we have that. But if we genuinely want to put the children and families first, because we work with families through children.
Right.
Okay. And that's a great deal of my work has been working with families by first working with the child. You have to allow for time for people to just get to know each other. If you showed up today to my house, I'd be like, I'm not looking for it. Like, who are you?
Right. Normal feeling, normal
like,
response.
Who are you? I'm not doing that. Or if I go to school and you're going to talk about my child, and I'm doing the best I can, or I don't have rent, or I just got into an argument and you're about to tell me how little Johnny was bad.
Yes.
He might have been bad, but truthfully, today ain't the day for me to hear it. And so I would even say that sometimes we have to ask families, are you ready to have this conversation? Are you in a good place?
Do we
need to reschedule it? Because I understand.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
I'm going to slow down. Yes, because I get so caught up in my day, right? Like you said, my deliverables, all the things happening, where I need to slow down and not, like, hi, this is Dr. Spates, principal of such and such.
Yeah.
I might say, do you have 2 minutes? Do you have 10 minutes? But I need to slow down and check in to see if they're in a good space to have the conversation and that I'm calling to have.
Especially if it's not a good one. Right.
Because if I'm calling, it probably isn't.
Right. And so I know as someone who used to get not in trouble-ish as a kid, but called in, because I might have said something. I might have challenged someone, right? The worst thing people could do is say to me, well, I want to talk to you later. Can you give me a warning? Can you say, am I ready? Can we schedule a time? Can you give me some bullet points on what we're going to cover? All those things, because no one wants to sit with
and be caught off guard.
So they're already coming into situations very defensive. So again, recognizing people are people. Like, we don't always want to hear the thing. Just it's essential. We got to hear it. But today might not be the day.
And systems they can be challenging to work with. So I say that as being part of a system, right? And so if you are in a position where you're feeling like you constantly have to fight against multiple systems to get your need met or just to be seen or to be heard, that adds to that defense.
Right. And I want to also acknowledge, just because I teach in an organization, we teach these things, I always acknowledge first, we shouldn't have to do these things. So I always want to say that the system is broken first, because you shouldn't have to go over and beyond to just get your needs met. But because this is the reality, I'm going to teach you how to finesse it. But I always want to acknowledge, like, this shouldn't be what it is, but this is what it is. And so I'm going to teach you these skills and techniques on how to deal with it. And you said something really important. A lot of Black and brown families and everybody in between, because and the reason why I say everyone in between, because you can be white and be poverty and rooted in poverty. And that's a struggle too.
Absolutely.
You could be a part of the LGBTQ community. So there's a lot of people that are really considered marginalized, but they don't always get acknowledged in that.
Yeah, thank you for doing that.
Every day you have to fight. I think of The Color Purple. All's my life I had to fight. That's for real.
Yes.
And that will make you angry. That will make you tired. That will put you on edge. So even if you're coming to say that Johnny was 10 minutes late, well, I probably had to fight for Johnny to get his prescription filled and make sure that I only have a $5 copay. And that $5 copay might have been too much this week or this month. Or, little Sally, people are literally having to fight for their very existence. So even as in an educational system, you might be speaking to them about something very small, but the chances are they're dealing with so much. So that small thing is a mountain in that moment.
Thank you for that reminder. Thank you. I always get so much. Like, people don't realize, like, this is I shouldn't say low key, like the kids say low key, high key, but it's like my mini PD. I'm like, I want to learn from this person. I want to learn from that person. I'm just sharing it. So,
I mean,
so thank you so many.
You're welcome.
Thank you. So your work emphasizes policy literacy and leadership development, which you have spoken to. And I feel like you need to do a special sesh, and we spoke about this before we were talking as we were getting set up, and I'll get to that in a second. But I was like, I need to stop talking to you. I'm just going to ask because I want other people to hear too. But I feel like you need to do a special sesh for educators.
Yeah.
Because educators, I believe we often feel like policy happens to us. And our voices, our lived experiences as educators are not centered. And so I'm going to need you to do that because I would really love. I
would love it.
I had a great professor. It's funny. I got my degree in government, right? Political science because, ASB president, I'm like, I want to change the world. And then I got cynical. I worked for lobbyists. I was just like, no, I'm good.
Yeah.
And so I just gave up. But I had a professor, Dr. Ott, who made me realize that just being an educator, like you are in the policy arena and we do need to like own that and claim that. But I don't know how to do that, so I feel like you need a special sesh for us, but like, let's talk about that.
I would love it. I think babies should come out knowing policy. I think everybody should know policy. Policy
It just seems so intimidating,
I mean, but that's how it was designed.
Okay.
Policy is the legal way to terrorize regular folks.
Oh.
I said it. It is what it is.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It is a legal way to terrorize people who don't know their rights or their options. And so as educators, I would say policy, you then have to go implement it. And then, so on that basic
level,
you're forced to implement, right?
Yes.
But then y'all should have a feedback loop. Okay, fine. I'm going to implement that policy 102 that you said to do. But guess what? In 6 months, we're going to have data based on our lived experience of working in the profession. And we're going to show you how this doesn't work or that it needs to be tweaked. That's the other aspect of policy. People think once it's done, it's done. No, you can undo it. You can modify it. You can tweak it. You can abolish it. Like there's still more. It's a living thing. And so policy, again, whether it's law, all the way down to institutional policy, is designed in a sense to be elitist. Let's be honest. There's this impression that you have to be highly educated. Some part of it, you might need to have a special educational level like law because of like the nitty gritty of writing it and making sure there's no unintended consequences and it's binding, all those things. But to develop a policy, you just simply need an idea. That is it. And if the idea is coming from an educator who has 20 years of classroom experience and you're like, you know what, I think breakfast should happen in the classroom with the classroom peers because...
It's so funny you mentioned breakfast, but we'll talk off camera.
the kid, and the reason why the breakfast should be in the classroom with the students that are in the class so they could build rapport and relationships and camaraderie with their peers because people need to like cohabitate. That's enough. You just said because you see that when kids go out to lunch or breakfast, they disperse. They don't connect with anyone. And then when they come back to the classroom, Billy and Johnny still don't get along with each other. So you just have to simply have an idea based on your experience. Now, we will then find data to support why that makes sense, right? Because you should have data. Now, the data could be your 20 years of experience, or the data could be, let's go do some research, or it could be a survey. So data can mean a lot of things, right? Then you're going to go to your legislator, your assembly member, your state senator who is over your region, and you're going to pitch the idea to them. And you're going to tell them why. And you're going to lead with your credentials. I've been a teacher for 20 years for junior high. This is what I know. You are a subject matter expert. That legislator is just the person that was elected by the people. He could literally simply have just a high school diploma. Just because he's a legislator does not mean he actually has the credentials or the knowledge to serve everyone in every field. He might have his own expertise, but he's going to rely on the subject matter expert to come and say, this is what we really need. And then you're going to partner with him, most likely his staff, to really hash that out. What does this look like? Who else is going to be influenced by this potential bill? Who else needs to be considered? Do we need to talk to anyone else to see if there's going to be unintended consequences? And then from there, you start to literally shape the language. You are writing it.
Wow.
You are, if you wrote a paper.
Yes, many of those.
Okay. You can write a bill.
But what if I present it and they say no?
There's other people.
So you just find the legislator who would be open to your policy idea.
Yes. Now, hopefully the person that's responsible for your community should want to do that because they got to be reelected.
Okay, got you.
But if they don't, there's others, because if it's an issue in your region, it's probably an issue somewhere else. And so there's someone else that would be more than happy to take it up. Now, each legislator does have their thing that they are like deeply passionate about. Right. So that's a strategy. Well, let me go to the person who is deeply passionate about education. Now, if you're not in their district, then you want to partner with someone who is their constituent. Okay. You know, come on now. You want to talk to the people who can vote for you, because that's what it comes down to. They work for the people that are in their district. So it doesn't mean you only can talk to the person in your district. Strategically, you talk to whoever is passionate about that issue, but you should, out of respect, I would say, start with the person who is responsible for your community. Okay. But yeah, it's really that simple. If you wrote a text message,
not a text message.
If you wrote a text message, if you're super duper opinionated and you have 5 to 10 examples of that really happening and what the implication of it is, then you got enough to start the conversation on how to shift policy.
How interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to need you to do that.
Yeah. Like, okay, let's do it. It's fun.
Now, is there, I should know, but I have no idea. Is there a feedback loop built into, let's just say, laws that are passed in California? They have, schools are cell phone free, right? Is there a feedback free? So kids can't have cell phones anymore.
Okay.
Right? Or we,
really, kids can't have cell phones in schools?
Correct.
I homeschool my last children, so I'm like, what? That's crazy.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Like crazy meaning,
well,
you would be the parent telling the student to don't pouch your phone?
I see both sides, okay? It's a distraction, right? Yes. Okay. It's totally a distraction. It can be inappropriate. Totally see that. I'm more the safety side. If something happens, you're talking to a mom who lost a child.
Okay.
If something were going on at the school, I immediately am like, how do I get to my child? How can I communicate? So I see both sides. And I also want to fully acknowledge my children are homeschooled, so I'm not in it. But yeah, so I just want to say I see both sides.
So if there is an emergency at my school, and it's locked down, in the situation probably that every human on the planet fears, and deputies are there, you can't get your child. And so if 817 parents are coming to my school, you're blocking emergency services.
But my child can't text me to say I'm safe?
If there's a person in this horrible scenario, right?
Yeah,
like
right.
There's
because that's what I'm thinking about, the horrible scenario, not the everyday situation.
And there's an active shooter, right? If your child is texting, because we don't want the shooter to know where the children are.
True.
So if you're texting, their phone is blinging and lights are coming on, and they make the whole class a target.
See, thank you for explaining that to me. It's like, you see how I got shocked. That's crazy. What?
No.
And then I was curious.
Yeah.
You shared information with me. I get it. It makes sense. Okay. I could live with that. It's still, but I'm coming from a place of losing a child.
Too. Yeah, and I don't have that.
Coming from a place of like, I don't ever want to experience that again. So anything that feels like I could experience that does send a shock. So see how like,
but I get the parent
change.
Too, right? Because you hear things on the news. I'm a parent as well, so I get that. But let's go to like busing, right? So, or I shouldn't say busing, but it was school start times.
Oh, I heard about that. Yeah. Tell me more from your perspective, because I heard more from a parent's perspective.
Well, let's talk just impact, right?
Okay.
So the impact being of secondary students needing later start times. Logistically in districts, there's so many buses.
Yeah.
So now the littles, it got flipped. So the littles are starting school at 7:30.
Little.
There's only so many buses, and if the law
Maybe
says,
so tired.
if the law says that secondary students have to have later start times, you have to follow the law,
See,
right?
now we call that unintended
Right.
consequences. And so
So where's the feedback loop? Is there a feedback back loop?
so the feedback is how long has this law been in place?
I should know, but I don't
I
know
don't
because
either
our
because I
district
feel,
tends to be on the forefront. So even before things come, like we kind of
but
start
it's
a
been
little
2 years,
sooner.
3 years,
Oh yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah,
And
yeah.
that's enough. So hopefully people were collecting the data of the impact. I would also want to talk to parents
Mhm.
who have a little ones and what that has meant for their children, their little children having to get
Mhm.
up way earlier, start school. How does that impact them, right? So that's all the data that's needed.
Mhm.
And then I would say let's work together and go talk to our legislators on why we need to modify there, or there has to be different loopholes or allowances to
Mm.
change this up, or the other side of it is how do we get our district more money so there's school buses, more school buses, so everyone can have that later start time if that's beneficial.
Mhm.
But the feedback loop is when you decide to share the information.
Mm. Mhm.
Some bills have built-in implementation.
Mhm.
Some of them have built-in data requirements
Mm.
so they could check the data.
Mhm.
But not all bills or things that become laws have those built-in things.
Okay.
So if it isn't one, you can always initiate the feedback loop with your local legislator.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But there's 2 solutions. There's also we need more buses
Mhm.
because why not?
'Cause they're expensive.
Somebody got money. I promise you somebody got money.
Have you been
Somebody
watching the news, layoffs? We have the declining enrollment, which is directly tied to school funding,
and then
so
there's
it's a
private
challenge.
dollars, philanthropy.
Mhm.
There are foundations that are
Mm,
like, "We have money to give."
mm,
But if the school system, educators are not saying, we need money for these other things that are not covered by our
right.
state budgets or school budgets,
Mhm.
then they will never know that they could put a dent in a problem
Mm.
by offering this solution. So there's other avenues to
Yeah.
get money other than the educational system. You can also partner with nonprofits to
Okay.
fundraise. And maybe there's a quid pro quo.
Mhm.
Maybe the nonprofits, when it's the weekends, they can use the bus to,
Mm.
like
Right.
all those details would have to be worked
Right,
out.
right,
But
right.
we're in a state where we need to get very creative
So true.
with our resources, our partnerships, um, who we bring into the work, where we don't
Mm.
have the privilege of it'll get worked out. It'll
Right,
get worked out and there'll be no schools. I
right.
mean, or there
Yeah,
won't be
yeah.
anything. So we need to
Right.
get very creative. But I just want to, if nothing else, just know that there's other options
Mhm.
to support education, the
Right.
educational system.
Thank you.
So yeah.
Thank you for that. You got my mind spinning. Okay. So, one of the outgrowths
Hmm.
of the work that you do is this beautiful bus, my metaphorical school bus, which is a podcast studio, which is located in a 661 Creator Space. So, can
Yes.
you tell us about this magical space? And you guys only get to see this one room. I don't know how to do, like, moving podcast video, but I know you do. But we won't
So,
do that today, but it's a magical space, so talk to us about
okay.
661 Creator Space.
So the 661 Creator Space was birthed out of the advocacy, economic empowerment arm of what we do. In our community, we're not like LA, where LA has all these cultural hubs, all
Yes.
these things.
Yeah.
We don't really have that out here. And so
True.
I had this bright idea, also going back to the original Empower
I was
Her
thinking about that,
Center.
the business
Okay.
center, yes.
Yeah. I said, you know what? And plus, I started to visit a place called Blackbird in Culver City for events,
Mhm.
and it was beautiful.
Okay.
And I would go down there and be so inspired. And then I'd come home and I'm like, we don't have anything.
Okay.
So, me, find the gap. I
Yes.
feel compelled to fill it.
Right. You
So
do it well.
I thank you.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
So I was like, let's put it all together because if you remember any of my previous answers, communication is essential in being a leader. Space to be able to exist freely is essential.
Mm.
And so I wanted to put all those things together in one place to be like a cultural hub
Mm.
of creativity, synergy, safety, because we got to a point where, there's times where we can't um, be in community with
Mhm.
each other safely
Mhm.
without there being our mere presence being a threat.
Mhm.
And so that's what the 661 Creator Space is. So we have I didn't forget how many rooms. We have a lot of rooms. 1, 2, 3.
Studios, yeah.
I don't know, 10 or more.
Yeah.
And every room is aesthetically designed to be beautiful.
They're beautiful, like absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
Yes.
I did that all myself. So I did that. Yes.
What did my kids say?
Right? So they were designed to be beautiful, but they're multi-purpose rooms. So you could do your studio podcasting, filming, YouTube. You could do a small group session in there. You could do therapy if you wanted to do therapy. You could do art.
Oh, they would be great rooms for therapists to use. Oh my gosh.
It is whatever you need a room for. They're just very beautiful. And the reason why I was so adamant about the rooms being very aesthetic is because that's one thing that we do genuinely lack here in the Antelope Valley is beautiful things that are not so sterile.
Right.
You know, like when you walk in, when I was designing rooms and designing the space as a whole, I wanted people to walk in and feel this, like, I belong here. I could be creative here. We deserve nice things.
Yes.
Like, what I want you to imagine what you can do in this space.
Yes.
Whenever I would go to those places in LA, I would walk in like, oh, this is so nice. And then I'd want it back at home. And I'd come back and I'm like, there's nothing here.
Yeah.
So that's really important. That's another point. I love teachers who do their rooms up.
So do I.
Every year I'd be like, maybe I should be a teacher because I would love doing this every year.
Those are like my Zen spaces.
I love them. I probably would do it every
gosh.
quarter though. I'd probably change up my room every quarter.
You probably would.
I would.
Semester, because you might be tired.
Because I love it. Oh my. No, I don't know. I would probably do every weekend.
Quarter.
No, every weekend. Let me just change it up a little bit.
Yes.
Or have a different. I love it. So, but it inspires the students, right? You feel a certain way. So the same reason. Yes, I could have all these rooms and just had white walls and standard furniture and still kind of did the same thing. But I wanted to inspire people to remind our community members that we deserve nice things out here too. Yeah, again, we're a part of LA County that's often forgotten. We don't always get the same amount of funding and all the things.
Okay.
So we don't always get the nice things. This place is meant to be the nice thing. So the bar has been raised, and hopefully you raise up to that standard as well. We have small events. We've had conferences, fundraisers, town hall. Anything you need a room for, this space is for that.
Love it.
In addition to it just being a physical space, we teach people how to start businesses. Yes. Okay. We teach people how to start businesses. We teach them how to podcast. We teach them how to develop platforms. We teach them if they want to host a town hall meeting, because remember that issue that you're like, we need to garner support.
Right.
We'll show you how to host a town hall, how to come up with your bullet points. Like, now it's one thing to have a beautiful space, but then we're going to teach you the capacity building skills necessary to actually do the thing that you want to do.
I love that. So thank you, because you teaches me about podcasting. And it's really nice because if you don't have the camera skills and lighting and all of the things, it's great to have a space where you have everything here for us to use.
Oh, I forgot. We teach young people how to do production.
Okay, so tell us about that.
So, like, we have cinema cameras, we have regular cameras. Our youth interns, which is a paid position, $20 an hour.
Okay.
Hint, hint. We'll learn how to use the cameras, the sound equipment, editing, photography, all those relevant skills for this day and age, because we also believe in entrepreneurship. It's cool to have a job. It's really nice to have a job.
Yes.
But it's also cool to also have another source of income. And so we teach them how to use media as not only to work here and get paid, but also if they want to develop their own media business later, they can use those same skills to do that.
You're very passionate about podcasting. Can you talk
gosh.
about why that's so important?
So remember, Empower Her, the center first started off as a podcast. So talk about evolution, right?
Yes.
Talk about the pivot that has to happen. And so I started with doing weekly Facebook Lives. So believe it or not, I didn't like being on camera. Never mind the fact that I grew up with a dad that was a photographer and a videographer. I did not like being on camera. Never mind, my first job was a photographer. I was always behind the camera, never in front of the camera. But it was a skill that I didn't like not being comfortable. I didn't like it at all. And so as I started to see media and being on camera and all these things were really, I noticed the trend before it became the trend. And so I was in a networking group, and one of the business owners were like, could someone interview me on Facebook Live? And before I could think to say no, I was like, I can do
Okay. That courage,
right?
always popping up. I love it.
I run towards the fear.
Yes.
Run towards the fear before I talk myself out of it. And so that Facebook Live is still on my Facebook page. Wow. I keep it there as a reminder of like how far I've come.
Yes.
And so people tuned in. A lot of people tuned into that live. And then it became Talks with Tav. Okay. And so it was a weekly Facebook Live where I was interviewing women, business owners. I would interview local people, then people all over the world, because people started to share it. And then I would get messages and I was like, oh, this is a thing.
How cool.
And then people would get business from watching this show. Wow. And I remember one time, this is like where it really hit home. I was in San Diego and I had like a little funny segment, Where's Mickey? Because that was my youngest child. And he would be under the table, under the desk, holding onto my leg while I'm doing the live. And so that would be the joke, Where's Mickey? And so I was at San Diego and someone walked up to me and said, Where's Mickey? And I was like,
cute.
What do you mean? I was like, what is going on? She somehow found my live. And so I was like, the power of that. And so I doubled down on it. So then I went from the Facebook Lives to learning how to produce podcasts, editing the sound podcast, audio only podcasts. Then because I do have a background in photography and videography, then I started to add that component. And I believe it was social media, because that's also kind of tied into this, was the great divide that got smaller and smaller. Because once upon a time, in order to make it, you had to go the traditional route of interning in radio stations, TVs. You had to know the people. Social media cut that down so quick. From YouTube. Justin Bieber used to do covers on, if I'm not mistaken, on YouTube. Like all these people who were using these platforms to make a name for themselves. And that's when I started to go, you have to create a platform. You have to be a thought leader and create a platform to shift the narrative. And so I just started to double down and work with other people on their podcasts. And so more recently, this last federal presidential election, the presidential candidates spent more time on podcasts and traditional media.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
The presidential candidates spent more time on podcasts and traditional media.
Wow.
If that don't tell you,
that's everything.
That is everything. And so now we have podcasts on Netflix, Amazon Prime. There's shows coming out. It is the great, like, the media shift. And so as marginalized community members, Black, white, and everybody in between, right? Black, brown, and everyone in between. It's important. If we want to shift the narrative, if we want families to believe that their voice matters, we need to teach them how to have platforms so that they are also the voice and out there in the world.
Right.
What we hear a lot of is those with money. We hear those voices a lot. Right. Sometimes they're right, but oftentimes they're wrong because they're only coming from one perspective.
Right.
If we want people to believe that things are that opportunity exists, or shift the narrative that Black folks can go to college or Latinos can do this, then we need more voices out there saying that, speaking their truth, speaking their lived experience. And so we believe podcasting is one of those mediums that can do just that. So we support community members all having a platform. If you have something to say, we are here to support you. Now, we ain't gonna support you with the nonsense.
Okay. So everybody just can't come record a podcast? No? Okay. No. So what do people do? Creator Space is in all the show notes, so it's always down there. But what should somebody do if they're interested and they want to reach out to you?
I would say the best thing is on social media, Instagram, specifically 661, send us a direct message. Questions, once you send us a message, things I'm going to ask, because you got to go through me.
Yes.
Because we're not here for the shenanigans.
Right.
Yeah. We do believe in entertainment. So we do believe, because we all need to laugh while we're going through rough stuff. But we're not going to let you put out fake news. We're not here to support that. So we'll ask, what is the show about? What do you intend to do with it? What is the purpose? Who is your target audience? Which are all things you need to think about anyway. So it's also helping you formulate your own show. And then from there, assuming you're not trying to like tear down something, we will then move into, okay, let's meet in person and go over what that looks like, the elements of it. So it's really that simple. And then we do have fee structure for those who want to pay for it. We also understand that everyone can't pay
Mhm,
for it, and so
mhm.
we have, an Ubuntu model, I
Okay.
am because you are. So
Oh,
if
okay.
you have a special set of skills, so like say you're a great artist,
Mhm,
but you don't have the funds to, produce a podcast,
mhm.
I'll ask for you to teach a community art class
Oh,
in
very nice.
exchange for podcasting
I love
services.
that.
Mhm.
Very nice.
So you
Thank
have to
you.
pour back into the
I
community.
love that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. We'll end with this.
Okay.
Okay. So for school leaders,
Mhm.
are you ready, eager to finish with me?
No, I'm excited. I'm like, "Yes, what is usually it's school leaders, let's go, I love
I just saw
leadership."
fingers moving
Oh,
in
okay, I
my
was like,
periphery.
"Yes." Okay, okay.
Okay, for school leaders, teachers,
Mhm.
educators, parents.
Yep.
So you can answer from any angle, okay?
Okay.
For people who genuinely, educators. Sorry, I'm going to switch. For educators who genuinely want to partner with families, not just inform them,
Mhm.
what are 2 to 3 concrete actions schools can take right now to move from family engagement to shared ownership of student success?
Mm, dang. There's a lot of things.
And you have highlighted so many
Yeah.
for us today.
I would say if you don't have a parent leadership program, a series, if nothing else, a series of workshops
Okay.
spread out throughout the year
Hmm.
to begin to engage parents. I would start there.
Okay.
I would also, again, assuming no one's doing this because I don't
Uh,
want to act like I have the answers. The culture of the teachers who are directly connected to students, whenever they are meeting with parents, always saying, you're welcome to come, whatever the rules are.
yes, of
You're
course.
welcome to come. We
I love
have
that.
these workshops. Do you ever just want to, at lunch, I have 10 minutes once Monday a month,
Mm,
something that's just constantly inviting parents to show up.
I love
Because a
it.
lot of us were told the teachers are always right. You stay out of the school
Hmm.
business.
Hmm.
And so we're coming from that lens of they know
Yeah.
better, whereas some parents might genuinely be curious and would like to
Right.
get involved.
Right.
So I would just say that culture of come in, come
Hmm.
sit, let's meet, and then oh, this is really big.
Okay.
Might ruffle some feathers,
Okay.
but we need to incentivize parents.
What do
Okay,
you mean?
M- um, pay them.
Oh, wow.
Okay, because they're experts in what they do.
Oh,
Okay,
interesting.
yeah.
Okay.
Now this is where you can partner with a nonprofit and fundraise and all. There's again
How
there's
interesting.
ways, but again, I work with institution, governments, big nonprofits,
Mhm.
whoever,
Mhm.
to bring community to the table.
Mhm.
Because usually the institutions want information from the parents, whether it's lived
Mm.
experience, their buy-in,
Mhm.
okay?
Mhm.
If they're so important, then compensate them for their time.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
Just like I'm gonna be compensated for my time, you're gonna be compensated.
Mm.
Do that. There's a few reasons why I recommend that. One, most of our families are struggling.
Mhm.
If you want them to stop doing something else,
Wow.
the opportunity cost. You gotta offer them
Wow.
something. Okay.
Mhm.
What you're also saying to them is, I value you so much. I'm going to
Yes.
pay you like a consultant.
Wow.
Okay. All right. So that's number
Wow.
one of my projects. It's called the Motherboard. It's a 21 member lived experience advisory board made of Black women for the maternal and infant health space.
Mhm.
And they served on this advisory board for 1 year. And do you know what their stipend was for that 1 year?
How
Of 2
much?
hours of work a month, 2 to 3 hours of work a month,
How much?
$9,000. And
Wow.
we fundraise.
I love
So
that.
all of
Wow.
them got $9,000 each.
I love that.
Okay. They took it seriously. They showed up. They went out and did the work. They became their own leaders and advocates as it relates to that field. So I'm a big believer in
Mm.
compensate people, don't tokenize them.
Mm.
If you want true partnership, shared leadership, you do need to compensate them. And I'm fully understand that not everyone has a budget, but again, there are other ways to do that. This
Yeah.
in the nonprofit world, we call that community leadership.
Okay.
There might be a nonprofit that's like, I need parents.
Right.
Let's share this responsibility together. Let's work together.
That's so powerful.
Mhm.
That sends so many amazing messages
Yeah.
to families.
Mhm.
We value you. We value your lived expertise. You are of value. Your
Mm.
time has
Yes.
value because
Yeah.
often they they're working,
Yeah.
or there's other children, or there's daycare costs.
Yes.
So it's
you want people to show up, you have to compensate them.
So interesting.
From that particular project, some of those mothers then went on to start consulting business.
Oh my gosh.
Are serving in leadership roles and other aspects of the work.
Wow.
We have a partnership with UCLA to study this.
Wow.
Right. So our early research data is coming back, and it's phenomenal.
Powerful. Yeah.
That's another thing. The data, we love data.
I do.
I know I do. I do research. I love data. We need to bring back the information back to the community members. They get so inspired. All we need is one or two parents to do the thing. Then everyone else, it breaks a belief barrier.
Right.
That, oh, she did it?
Yes.
Well, I can do it too.
That's so true. Yes.
I mean, I am here today because I saw other people at a distance.
So true.
I didn't know them.
True. Yes.
I just saw that it was an option. Wait, we could do that? Wait, I could do that?
Yes.
That's an option?
Yes.
I didn't even need to know the person. I just needed to know it was an option.
Right.
I needed like this invisible permission. You could go do that too. Say that. And that's what a lot of our families need, is that permission to go, wait, I could do this too?
Yes.
So you're going to listen to me? Oh.
And then it's community changing.
Yeah.
Because they're empowered they start to see their power and start doing other things. And all of that impacts the kids and their children.
My children.
For generations.
My children. I remember my youngest one was like 6. He woke up one morning, looked at me and said, I want to start a business.
Oh,
I said, right? I said, oh, okay. And he said, we're going to start tomorrow at 9 a.m. Oh, and this is what we're going to do.
I love that. Oh, where did he learn all of this from?
Right, because he saw his mom.
Right.
Like, more is caught than taught. Like, what they're observing is teaching them. And so if we can get the parents to show up, because we incentivize them, not tokenize them.
Yes.
We empower them by building their capacity to engage in whatever it is we're asking them to engage them, and we value their lived experience, you'll start to see different people show up.
Okay, this is my last question. Okay, how do you self-care? Because I'm always trying to take notes, figure this out.
Yeah, so sauna, I played tennis, I poured into myself. I highly recommend it, even if it's like before I had the things, right? I would go home and I would tell my kids, mommy's going to put herself on a timeout, which meant do not come talk to mommy.
Right.
And so then they, but I was very vocal. Mommy needs a timeout. Right. So then my kids would start, before I got home, would turn on my salt lamp in my room, or like the meditation music and close the door, and they'd be like, we got your room ready for your time out.
Oh,
so
how sweet.
Because I could tell you all the things that I do that require money.
Yeah.
But I want to say that you could start as simple as sometimes we're overstimulated. We just need a quiet space. And if you have children, you need to ask them or let them know, hey, mommy, daddy, whoever needs this quiet time. I need 15 minutes. My kids will put a timer on.
I love it.
Okay. I'm so glad y'all, then they started to, give me more time.
Yes.
But just that is enough. Because in a world in which everything's at our fingertips.
So much noise. Yeah.
So much noise. Sometimes we just need the quiet. So I started with just the quiet time. I had a salt lamp. I got a $20 salt lamp from like Target, TJ Maxx, one of those like stores.
Yes.
And it played like meditation music. And that's all I had. And that's what I started with. And
I love that.
Self-care later translates into your ability to produce income.
You're always the businesswoman.
Yeah. Self-care will translate into your ability to produce income later. When you can rest, your mind allows for that creativity to enter in. You can think the new thoughts. You can think outside of the box.
So
you can refuel yourself to keep going. And so now at this point, I can do the cool stuff like take flute lessons.
Yeah.
Because I learned that's how swimming. I started taking swimming lessons as a way of self-care. Now I know how to swim, flute, all the things. And then I also change it up just because. And sometimes I still go back to, I'm going to go in my room for 15 minutes.
Yes.
Even with all the things, I still need the quiet time.
I love that. And then it teaches your children teaches them so many things, but teaches them the importance of slowing down and
they tell me when they need 15 minutes.
I love
they will
that.
tell me, especially like if it's a chore day where we're cleaning
That's so
up
good.
and they're feeling some kind of way. Okay, well, I'll give you your 15 minutes. Go on and do what you're going to do. If it's take a nap or read or zone out. Okay, I honor that because you are a little human being.
Yes.
And you need that time too.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Well, thank you so much for riding on the school bus with me.
Nice.
It is. Thank you. You did this. I hope everybody continue to find joy in the things that you do every day.